Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we embark on a journey to demystify the intricacy of policy exam questions for A-level students for March 2021. Examining the past offers us a compass to navigate the challenges ahead, empowering us with the insight and strategies to conquer the present. Let's delve into a treasure trove of past exam, unlocking the key to success and mastering the art of academic excellence. Question number 1. The photomicrograph show onion cells. The actual length of the onion cell label Y is 350 microM. What is the magnifications of the photomicrograph? The answer will be multiply 400. Which row correctly show the presence of a cell structure in typical plant cells and in typical prokaryote cells? The correct answer given is B. This can be explained by typical plant cells and prokaryote cells both have 70S ribosomes. Plant cells also have 80S ribosomes, but they have 70S ribosomes in their chloroplast and mitochondria. Prokaryote cells primarily have 70S ribosomes. Centrioles, lysosome, and cellulose cells walls do not fit the given present. The absence criteria for both cells start as per the other options. Number 3, which letter identifies cell structure where semi-conservative replications of DNA occurs? This question is a repeated question and it already exists in October 2021. And each of these organelle chloroplasts, mitochondria, nucleus, contain its own DNA and machinery for transcription. The closest answer to this question is A. Which part of a cell contains ribosome? The answer will be 1. Chloroplast, mitochondria, and cytoplasm. This can be explained through the below statement. Ribosomes are found in chloroplast, mitochondria, and the cytoplasm, and the Golgi body does not contain ribosomes. Which range of centimeter is typically for prokaryote cells? The answer will be 1 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3 nm to 5 microM. This can be explained through prokaryote cells typically range from 1000 nanometer, which is 1 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3 nm to 5 micrometer in diameter. Which row shows a combination of molecules that could be found together in a single isolated virus? The correct answer is D. This can be explained through below statement. Viruses can have DNA or RNA as their genetic material, but not both simultaneously. Viruses contain protein, capsid protein, that encase their genetic material. They do not typically contain carbohydrate or phospholipids within their structure. Lipids may be present in the envelope of some viruses, but not in all viruses. And the question specifies a single isolated virus without specifying if it is enveloped. Number 7, the student carried out 4 biochemical tests on a sample of food. Which conclusion is supported by the result? The result suggests that during the test for emulsion, the observation shows to be cloudy, which is indicate fat is present. For the Benedict test, the observation turned it to be yellow, but which is indicate the glucose is present. And for the Burette test, the observation turned it to be purple, which indicate protein is present. And also for the iodine test, the observation turned it to be yellow, which indicates starch is not present. So the correct conclusion is protein is present. Number 8, which diagram represents a molecule of alpha glucose? Alpha glucose has 4 OH group, which is connected to the primary carbon chains and has a cyclic structure when seen in the context of the chair conformation structure, which is an oxygen bridge is generated to create the cycle. So this indicates that an oxygen atom connect to carbon atom at the terminal of the major carbon change. So the diagram A is a represent the molecule of alpha glucose. Number 9, which statement about glycosidic bond are correct? Condensation between glucose and fructose uses water and forms sucrose. Number 1 statement is incorrect because water is released. It's not used when glucose and fructose join to form sucrose. Number 2 is considered correct, the statement, which is glycogen contain alpha 1, 4 glycosidic bond and alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond formed by condensation. This is correct because glycogen has glucose unit linked by alpha 1,4 bond and branched by alpha 1,6 bond, and both formed by the condensation. And the statement 3 is also correct. The hydrolysis of amylopectin uses water to break glycosidic bond and releases alpha glucose because water is used to break glycosidic bond in amylopectin, which release alpha glucose unit. And number 4 statement is incorrect because amylose has alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond, not beta 1,6 bond. So the correct answer will be 2 and 3. Number 10. A triglyceride is formed by joining fatty acids to glycerol through ester bond. So the correct row will be ester and glycerol. Number 11, the diagram shows a phospholipid molecule divided into this region X, Y, and Z. R in region X represent a range of possible chemical groups. Region X, Y, and Z affect the properties of cell surface membrane in different ways, which will show the effect of each region on the properties of a cell surface membrane. The answer will be, it will increase permeable of hydrophobic region, which is Z. A repel polar molecule will be Y and Z, and attract water molecules will be X. Which statement about collagen is correct? The correct statement about collagen is C. 3 helices are held together by hydrogen bond. This can be explained by when collagen is a protein made up of 3 polypeptide chains and each forming a left-handed helix. These 3 helices are twisted together to form a right-handed triple helix, stabilized mainly by hydrogen bond. Catechol is a chemical found in a number of foods. Catechol can be oxidized to a phenol by the enzyme catechol oxidase. Catechol oxidase is inhibited by PHBA, which is structurally similar to catechol. In the presence of PHBA, the Michael-Menten constant for catechol oxidase increases. How does PHBA inhibit catechol oxidase? The answer will be only statement 1. 14. Which statement about the fluid mosaic model of membranes are correct? The correct answer will be 1 and 2, which is the movement of phospholipid in the membrane is reduced if the fatty acid tails are saturated, and the glycoproteins in the outer layer of the membranes can move, which is 1 and 2. And the channel proteins are fixed in the position is incorrect because they can also move within the membrane through some membrane anchor. 15. Diagram 1 and diagram 2 show how the transverse sections through a leaf changes when the leaf is moved from solution X to 1, which will describe the water potential of the leaf cells and surrounding solution in diagram 2 compared with diagram 1. The answer will be less negative when the water potential of these cells in diagram 2 compared with the water potential of these cells in diagram 1, and also less negative during water potential of solution Y compared with the water potential of solution X. Which features must only be present for water to move between two solutions by osmosis? So for osmosis to occur, water must cross the barrier. The essential features for this process are selectively permeable membrane. This will allow only certain molecules like water to pass through while blocking others. And number 4 is a water potential gradient. There must be a difference in water potential between the two solutions for water to move. The answer will be 3 and 4. When living pancreatic cells were placed in a solution of the red stain called neutral red, and cytoplasm become red. The cells were then removed from the solution of neutral red. The red stain in the cytoplasm moved into vesicle, which were exported from the cells, eventually leaving the cells colorless. Which transport mechanism could explain how the red stain entered and left the cells? Is through diffusion and exocytosis mechanism. DNA molecules in the eukaryotic cells must be packaged compactly because the combined length is much greater than the diameter of the nucleus. Which structures are required during the process of packaging DNA molecules compactly? The structure required for compactly packaging DNA molecule in eukaryotic cells is histone protein. Histone protein helps in winding and organizing DNA into a compact structure called chromatin, which is making it fit within the nucleus. Which statement about mitosis are correct? Mitosis results in genetically identical cells. Mitosis is also involved in asexual reproductions, and mitosis can be used to repair damaged cells. The answer will be 1, 2, and 4. The human chromosome is made up of different parts. Some parts of the typical human chromosome are more numerous than others. Which parts are listed in order from least numerous to most numerous in the human white blood cells? For the centromere, each chromosome has one centromere. Chromatid, each chromosome has 2 chromatid. Histone protein, each chromosome has many histone protein. So from least numerous to most numerous is a centromere, 1 per chromosome. Chromatid, 2 per chromosome. For the histone protein, many per chromosome. Therefore, the correct answer will be centromere, 2 chromatid, and 2 histone protein, which is A. 21. A piece of double-stranded DNA containing 12 times 10 to the power of 3 nucleotides is transcribed and translated to produce a single polypeptide. What is the maximum number of amino acids in this polypeptide? To find the maximum number of amino acids in the polypeptide, we have to follow this step. First, total nucleotide in DNA is 12,000. This is already given in the questions. Transcription DNA is transcribed into mRNA, which uses the same number of nucleotides, which is 12,000. And translation, each amino acid is coded by a codon, which consists of 3 nucleotides. Therefore, the maximum number of amino acid is 12,000 nucleotides divided by 3 nucleotides per codon. You get the value of 4,000 amino acids. And 3 nucleotides per codon is about 12,000 nucleotides, which is equivalent to 4,000 acid amino. So the correct answer will be 4 multiplied by 10 to the power of 3. The answer would be B. Which statement about complementary base pairings are correct? The corrects will be 2. Purine and pyrimidines are different sizes. 3 is adenine form the same number of hydrogen bond with thymine as it does with uracils. And number 4 is the base pair in a molecule of DNA are equal length and equal width. 2, 3, and 4. What are the products when the DNA molecule replicates? The answer will be when the DNA molecule replicates, it produces 2 new DNA molecules. and each of these molecules is made up of nucleotide, the building block of DNA, that pair up to form the double helix structure. 24. Which description apply to folium sieve tube element and to xylem vessels element? The correct answer will be no cytoplasm and no nucleus. So, both folium sieve tube element and xylem vessels element lack of cytoplasm. And also true for number 3 because both folium sieve tube elements and xylem vessels element lack of nucleus. And number 2 is false because only xylem vessels element lack and walls. Folium sieve tube elements have sieve plates which is modified and wall. 1 and 3. Some of the parts of the plant root involved in water transport are listed. The correct answer is Casparian strip. This can be explained why cell wall of cortex cells is a water move through the cortex cells wall. For the endodermal cells, water passes through the endodermis. And for the number 5, xylem vessel, water enter the xylem vessel for transport of the plants. So the pathway is cell wall of the cortex cells, and then it goes to endodermal cells and the xylem vessels. The sequential path of the path through which water can move across the root is 2, 3, and 5. What is an example of a mass flow system in a plant? The movement of the sap through the folium sieve tube in the stem. This can be explained by mass flow involve the bulk movement of substances. The movement of sap through folium sieve tube is an example of this bulk transport process. Number 26, the diameter of a tree trunk usually decreases slightly during the day. Which changes in environmental factors during the day could cause the diameter to decrease even more? This is also a common question which is already exists in May 2021. 28. Which statement about the role of co-transporter protein in the movement of sucrose is correct? The correct answer is hydrogen ion diffused through co-transporter protein with sucrose into companion cells. Co-transporter protein use the energy from hydrogen ions moving back into cells to bring sucrose into companion cells together with the hydrogen ion. Which role correctly described with heart during atrial systole? The correct is D, which is wall of ventricle relaxed and atrioventricular valve open and semilunar valve is closed. And this can be explained during atrial systole, the atria contract, the ventricle are relaxed, the atrioventricular valve are open to allow blood flow from the atria to the ventricle, and the semilunar valve are closed. Number 13, the diagram shows a capillary, some tissue cells, and the lymph vessels, which will correctly identify arrows 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 is actually represent diffusion of oxygen, and number 2 is actually represent flow of water and small solids. Number 3 is diffusion of carbon dioxide, and number 4 is a flow of tissue fluid. 31, the table shows the result used to draw an oxygen dissociation curve for adult hemoglobin. What is the percentage increase in the volume of oxygen per gram of hemoglobin when the partial pressure of oxygen increases from 3 kPa to 5 kPa? To find the percentage increase in the volume of oxygen per gram of hemoglobin when the partial pressure of oxygen increases from 3 to 5 kPa, we have to follow this step. First, we need to identify the volume of oxygen per gram of hemoglobin at 3 kPa and 5 kPa from the table. At 3 kPa, volume of oxygen per gram is indicate 0.58. And at 5 kPa, the volume of oxygen per gram of hemoglobin indicate that 0.96. So to calculate the increase in volume, you have to use the formula of V5 minus V3, whereby 0.96 minus by 0.58, you get the value of 0.38. When you want to calculate the percentage increases, then you need to use percentage increases is actually increases divided by V3 multiplied by 100. So in this case, we get the value of increase, which is 0.38 divided by 0.58 multiplied by 100. You get the value of 65.52 percentage. 22. The graph shows the oxygen disassociation curve for the dark hemoglobin at 2 carbon dioxide concentration, which latter show measurement taken in the capillaries of the lung and in the capillaries of active muscles. The answer will be P indicate the lungs and R is actually indicate the active muscles. Which substances can combine with adult hemoglobin and reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood? To determine which substances can combine with adult hemoglobin and reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, you have to consider the following answer. First, carbon dioxide can bind to hemoglobin, forming carbaminohemoglobin, which reduces its ability to carry oxygen. Number 2, carbon monoxide bind to hemoglobin with much higher affinity than oxygen, forming carbon oxyhemoglobin, significantly reducing its oxygen carrying capacity. And number 3, which is hydrogen carbonate ions, do not directly bind to hemoglobin. They are involved in the transport of carbon dioxide in the blood. Number 4, which is hydrogen ion, can bind to hemoglobin, which is forming hemoglobinic acids, which can reduce hemoglobin affinity for oxygen. Thus, the answer will be 1, 2, and 4. 33. How many times must a molecule of carbon monoxide pass through a cell surface membrane as it diffuses from an air space in an alveolus through a cells in the capillary wall into a red blood cells? The answer will be, to determine how many times a molecule of carbon monoxide must pass through a cell surface membrane as it diffuses from air space in alveolus to a red blood cells, let's break down the journey. First, from the alveolus to the capillary, carbon monoxide diffuses across the thin alveolar epithelium, which consists of type 1 epithelial cells, which acts as a barrier between the air in the alveolus and the capillary blood. And this is the first membrane. Number 2, through the capillary endothelium. After crossing the alveolar epithelium, carbon monoxide then diffuses across the endothelial cells of the capillary wall, and this is the second membrane. And number 3, into the red blood cells, finally carbon monoxide diffuses across the plasma membrane of the red blood cells, entering into the cells where it can bind to hemoglobin, and this is the third and final membrane. Therefore, the molecule of carbon monoxide passes through 3 cell surface membranes in total: alveolar epithelium, capillary endothelium, and the red blood cells membrane. So the answer will be 3 times. Number 35. The heart rate of a person at rest was recorded at interval over 2 50 minutes periods. During the first 5 minutes of the second 50 minutes period, the person smoked a cigarette. The graph shows the result recorded during the 2 50 minutes periods. What can be concluded from the graph? The answer is the heart rate increases as a result of smoking. Emphysema is a type of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is COPD. A person with emphysema has difficulties in breathing out. Why does emphysema cause difficulties in breathing out? This can be explained through the elasticity of the alveolar decreases. In emphysema, the wall of the alveolar, tiny air sacs in the lung where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange occurs are damaged. This damage leads to a loss of elasticity in the lung tissue. Normally, when you breathe in, the alveoli expand to take in air, and when you breathe out, they require to push air out. With reduced elasticity due to emphysema, the alveoli cannot recoil as effectively. This makes it harder for the lungs to push air out during exhalation, resulting in difficulty breathing out, which is a characteristic symptom of emphysema. Which factors contribute to outbreak of measles after natural disaster? First is contamination of drinking water with untreated sewage. After natural disasters such as flood, earthquake, there is often damage to sanitation system and infrastructure. This can lead to sewage contamination of drinking water sources, increasing the risk of infection diseases like measles spreading through waterborne routes. Number two, lack of effective vaccination coverage in the population before the disaster. Measles outbreak can occur if there is insufficient vaccination coverage in the affected population. Natural disasters can disrupt healthcare services, including vaccination programs, which may leave community vulnerable to outbreak of vaccine-preventable diseases like measles. Factors like overcrowded accommodations, option 3, can exacerbate the spread of measles but not specifically linked to the outbreak itself of the natural disaster. So the correct answer will be 1 and 2, which is B. 38. There are two main classes of antibiotics, broad spectrum and narrow spectrum. Broad spectrum antibiotics affect a wide range of bacteria, while narrow spectrum antibiotics affect specific types of bacteria. Which uses of antibiotic may result in antibiotic resistance bacteria? The answer will be on. So a broad spectrum antibiotic given to reduce the effect of influenza viruses is true because influenza is caused by viruses, not bacteria, and antibiotics are ineffective against viral infections like influenza. Misuse of antibiotic in such cases promotes antibiotic resistance in bacteria unrelated to the viral infections. Number 2, a broad spectrum antibiotic to treat Mycobacterium tuberculosis in human. TB is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which is a bacterial infection. However, using broad spectrum antibiotics to treat TB can lead to the development of antibiotic resistant strain of M. tuberculosis. Number 3 statement, a narrow spectrum antibiotic to treat diarrhea and sickness in cattle. A narrow spectrum antibiotics targets specific types of bacteria. However, using antibiotics in livestock, including cattle, can lead to the development of antibiotic-resistant bacteria in those animals, which potentially spread to humans through food or direct contact. Therefore, all three scenarios listed may result in the development of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which is contribute to the broader issues of antibiotic resistance. And number 39, people with the autoimmune diseases, myasthenia gravis, can have a treatment to relieve the symptom. In this treatment, one of the component of their blood is removed. Which blood of component is removed? The correct is antibodies, because in the treatment of myasthenia gravis, which is an autoimmune disease, it's where antibodies attack the neuromuscular junction. The procedure called plasmapheresis is often used. In plasmapheresis, the liquid parts of the blood plasma is separated from the blood cells, and the process removes antibodies from the bloodstream that are targeted and affecting the neuromuscular junctions, thereby reducing symptoms of myasthenia gravis. So the answer will be antibodies. And number 40, the last question, why are spleen cells fused with myeloma cells during monoclonal antibody productions? The reason spleen cells are fused with myeloma cells during monoclonal antibody production is to create hybridism cells. These hybridism cells have two advantages. One is indefinite reproduction. Myeloma cells are sensorless and can be divided indefinitely, which is ensuring and continuous productions of antibody, one fused with spleen cells. And this allows scientists to generate a large and sustained supply of monoclonal antibodies for various medical and research purposes, making the process efficient and practical. Therefore, the main purpose of this fusion is to harness the ability of myeloma cells to continuously replicate, which is ensuring a steady production of specific antibody from the hybridoma cells. By leveraging past examination papers, you can enhance your understanding, improve your exam technique, and ultimately achieve better results. Thank you for your attentions and best of luck in your studies and upcoming exam.